A letter here from the VA. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. All right. What's going on, everybody? Another week has gone by, and Baby Friday is upon us, or Friday Night's Eve, as I like to call it. So it's great to be back. I hope you enjoyed the last 2 weeks of shows. I think some really cool information, especially Hero Stock, and you might be seeing yours truly over there when that event goes. So, but before we get started on all the good stuff, we have let's get right down to business and get all the pleasantries out of the way. This show is brought to you by Primerica. Hey, let me ask you something. Have you thought about it? Did you just have a baby, or are you planning to have one? Well, did you know that you can open up in Primerica? They can assist you with opening up a 529 account, which will be basically savings account for college. I know, yes, there are other many different products out there, but Primerica has one of the best ones. Which, by the way, you can earn money and interest, and your money grows every 6 years. Your money doubles compound plus whatever you're at. So by the time your kid gets to be 18, not only do they have a nice hefty savings account to pay for college, it may actually supersede that amount of that school. And once they become of age and graduate, you can actually roll that over or pass it on to the next kid in line or to your grandkids and so on and so forth. And the process just keeps recycling and repeats. And the best thing is that it's tax free. So show link, it's right there on the show link bio. Give them a call, go to the website. You can text message them and all that good stuff, and they can get you going on that information among the other many array of products that they have over there. And this show is also brought to you by Castle Global Services. Castle Global Services has a whole bunch of really cool products. Which, by the way, for those of you service members who have family members and others that don't pay the cost of medical insurance and can't afford, or because Obamacare, you're paying a lot of money for some of the products that Obamacare has to offer. Uh, they have Health Impact. Health Impact is a great it's a great product that they have there, which you can medically insure an entire family for less than $400. And you don't the best part about it is that you don't have to see in network, through network partners, the certain clinics, all this. So you can see who you like on there, whatever medical person you like to see, and they'll be much able to pay for pay the provider. All they have to just that provider doesn't is not familiar with them. All they got to do is just call the office, and they get them all taken care of. So it's right there also on the show bio, castleglobalservices.acnibo.com. You hit that link, go on residential services, or if you have a company, you want to provide medical insurance for your employees, which is also a tax benefit, you can do it as well. Super cheap, much better than the other 401k medical products that they have out there for companies. So check them out and see how they can tickle your fancy. Now, also, this show is now sponsored and has been sponsored by the VA. So here's a message from the VA.
Hi, I'm Mike Richmond of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with this message for veterans. Are you seeking to honor those who have served and sacrificed for their country? Visit the Veterans Legacy Memorial. This digital platform, run by VA's National Cemetery Administration, is dedicated to the memory of nearly 4.5 million veterans interred at VA's national cemeteries, VA's grant-funded tribal, state, and territory cemeteries, and 2 U.S. National Park Service cemeteries. The memorial's interactive features allow people to remember veterans by posting tributes and comments, uploading images, and sharing a veteran's military timeline, achievements, biographical information, historical documents, and more. Over 45,000 submissions have been made to the existing profile pages, since the site was launched. That's the Veterans Legacy Memorial. I'm Mike Richmond.
Thanks, Mike, for that awesome message. By the way, I just got my letter from the VA in regards to some of the things that Mike was talking about right there. It says you may qualify for additional benefits. So what's happening basically under the PAC Act, which was signed by President Biden, basically covers expands list of locations and timeframes for presumptive conditions, removes the manifestation period and its compensable level requirements for certain disabilities that occur during the Persian Gulf War. Veterans look in certain locations in the Persian Gulf, expands the list of presumptive conditions and timeframes for diseases associated with the burn pit registry and toxics, and list of risk activities for radiation exposures. So I'm pretty sure that this also applies to me, because if you were also in during the earthquake tsunami in Japan during 2010, 2011 of March, that right there, and in addition to other periods and timeframes, you may get additional things then there. So what this letter also states, folks, is that some of the things that are covered under this is brain cancer, chronic bronchitis, gastrointestinal cancer of any type, chronic COPD, glioblastoma, head cancer of any type, kidney lymphoma, melanoma, neck cancer, pancreatic, reproductive cancer, respiratory cancer, a lot of cancer, goddamn. Asthma that was diagnosed after the service, pulmonary fibrosis, pleuritis, initial lung disease, granulomatous disease, emphysema, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a bunch of stuff. So if you did, you should have, those of you who, and I hope everybody's plugged into the VA system, you should have gotten a letter just like this bad boy. I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, I do know a devil dog that's having issues with cancer, and that the VA said that he was never there, but I know he was there because I already hooked him up with that information. So I'm going to send him a copy of this letter, which I hope, but in case he doesn't have it. So now is the time to act, folks. So that way you get 100%, and that you and your family are taken care, or I mean, you are taken care of under there, and hopefully you can also roll on your loved ones for that survivor benefit, which the VA does have some compensation for that for those you live behind. Anyways, that being said, let's get cracking on the show. So as I was, sometimes the shows just kind of put themselves together. I'm not a fan of social media, but I am, because obviously this is how I communicate with you, dear listener. So obviously the show has a social media webpage, Instagram and Facebook, which I hope everybody here is liking and following and all that good stuff. So as I was kind of looking around, just minding my own business like I always do, I came across something that just kind of, how can I put it, chap my ass a little bit, and it's something that has been kind of weighing on me and bothered me for quite some time. So with that being said, this show may upset some of you here. We may have different opinion, and you know what? Like I was saying, another thing that I usually say at the beginning of the show is that, hey, this show is brought to you by the Great American Constitution. So what does that mean? Is that, hey, freedom of speech, right to bear arms. We support that. I did it for 20 plus years, as most of you out there listening to this. So, hey, if you don't like what you hear, that's fine. It's okay. I understand. Swipe left. Perhaps check something out from sitchradio.com among the other shows. But anyways, as I was just looking on social media, I saw something that just kind of bothered me, and I've started to notice a trend over the last couple of years. And look, I'm not trying to politicize the show or whatever, but I think as somebody who uses media and as a podcaster, I think I'm entitled to my own opinion, and two is that the whole bottom line is, the field job, like we used to do out in the field, is we used to get together around the fire, eating while we shared a nice, yummy, and very delicious MRE meal. Hopefully you weren't eating the five fingers of death or ham snatch, the other one that was very tasty back in the day, but and over some moist and delicious MRE bread, which that was fantastic. But nonetheless, you will sit around and we either told funny, stories of things like, hey, no shit, there I was, or we just started, philosophizing, if that's a word, of just shit that's going on around the world and in our backyard. So we either agree or disagree, and so some things got heated sometimes. But at the end of the day, it was fine. We're all entitled to our own opinion, and we don't have to agree at all times. But so with that being said, look, I'm not trying to draw a line on the sand, and I'm just saying that let's have a discussion about this topic and go from there. So if you want to, jump on the show, as I'm, bumping my gums here, please by all means, because I like to get your thoughts, or maybe on the comments on our social media webpage. But anyways, look, I was looking around, and again, like I was saying, I'm going to show you. Let's go ahead and show you this video, and tell me what your thoughts are, because I have some things to share. Can you, Brian? Can you hook me up, brother?
Let's say an 18-year-old man who doesn't want to go to war. Take Ukraine, for example. All the women could leave the country. All the men had to stay. You cannot leave Ukraine if you're a man between the ages of 18 and like 60 or 65. If you're a Ukrainian woman, you get to go to Stockholm, you get to go to Great Britain, you get to continue your hot girl summer. You know what the Ukrainian men were doing? Getting fucking massacred. So let's talk about privilege. Let's talk about privilege. They have to defend their country. If World War III is around the corner, there's no feminists when Russia invades. There's no feminists when China invades. All these things that you often complain about, when shit hits the fan, we revert to our traditional gender roles. You can't have feminism when there's a military conflict. Let's say an 18-year-old man who all the women could leave the country.
So that's, I was on my Instagram page, and I was looking, I came across this video, and I was just like, holy shit, this makes a lot of sense. Over the last couple of years, it seems to me, again, there's been this huge push to demasculinize men as a whole, and we've become soft. And not just the last couple of years. This has been going for quite some time now. Now, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with being, a little bit effeminate or this or that. I'm just saying that, everybody has a thought, a thought and opinion nowadays, that to the point that, hey, I don't agree with you, well, you're a feminist, or well, you're this and you're that, because I said, hey, no, I disagree with what you're saying. Look, and just like on the show description, what it says, Bruce Lee once said, it's better to be a gardener. I'm sorry, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a battlefield. And I think that, that applies to pretty much anything in life. Most of you here, I think the majority of you who listen to the show, excuse me, I think you folks are from my time frame. And let me tell you all something. I grew up. I was born in the 70s. I was born in 73. I'll be 50 this year. No, pretty proud of it. I think I made it an entire almost half a 100-year cycle. But we grew up, and I grew up in Colombia, in Latin America. I'm sure, yes, you can. By the way, shout out to the movie Encanto. I'm not a huge Disney fan, because of our opinions are a little bit different, or there's stuff going on right now. But hey, fucking awesome movie. Anyways, but what I'm saying is, look, I grew up and I came from a country that had a lot of turmoil internally already in the time from when I was growing up. And yes, you can sit here, and those of you who are familiar with all the bad stigma where I came from, have at it. That's your own opinion, but it's a beautiful country as a whole. So I grew up in that turmoil, and then, I'm here in the U.S. I came to the U.S. as a preteen, but there's a lot of shit in the 80s going on around the world. Russia was a real thing. I mean, to the point where our great President Reagan, that used to worry that dude, and it kept him up at night. I mean, if you read his bio, I mean, that dude lost sleep. I mean, and China and all these things. I mean, we lived in a time frame where nuclear war was a real deal, and it still is. It still is. I mean, that shit has not gone away. And so lately there's this huge push to, oh, men are this, and that, we're, we're women and we're empowered and blah blah blah. Because I'm here to tell you, like Mike Tyson, and I love using quotes, but Mike Tyson once said, everybody's a badass until they get punched in the face. There's a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen, between a man and a woman. Let's just keep it simple. And just like that video said, when shit hits the fan, it's those men and women, who raise their right hand. Unlike other countries, this the one great, and I know amongst great thing after Vietnam, we changed a lot of things. That there's no such thing as a draft. I mean, there isn't, there isn't, but most countries it's mandatory to, you turn 18, guess what? You're going to pay your time in the service, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I know in Colombia, up until I believe up until the late 90s, it was still mandatory at 18. I remember as a kid growing up and going to school there, because I went there up until middle school. I remember the truck, they had a graduation, military truck came by, parked right in front of the gates, and soldiers got off of it. And after graduation, it was like they were snatching everybody that was 18 and above, get in the truck. They were gonna go get their head shaved, train, and sent somewhere in the Amazon. And hopefully you made it, you made it after that. I mean, that shit is real. So in today's day and age, it's like, oh, everybody, oh, men are this, and oh, hey, we need to soften everybody, and feminists, and this and that. The bottom line is, when shit hits the fan, it's people like myself and others who have the intestinal fortitude, and women too. I'm rolling to say, people like us that are willing to say, hey, this is a nation where we are pretty much, this is a volunteer thing that, hey, in the event that shit hits the fan, here's a blank check that you can cash with my life. People, and then we'll revert back to those roles. But we're in this huge push of, hey, certain MOSs in the military, hey, let's put women in it. Again, you can have your ideas and whatever, but I'm telling you right now, I think the movie G.I. Jane also did a great, played some really good examples. There's a really good scene where, in G.I. Jane is Demi Moore. For those of you who remember her and know her, she was married to Bruce Willis. In this movie, she plays a female Navy personnel who is basically the first female who goes through BUDS and through Navy SEAL training, and she makes it through, and hard working and all that stuff. But there's a scene where Master Chief, basically, she's tied up, and not rips her. I think they rip her clothes off, and then basically, like, as if he wasn't gonna rape her, but basically it's to that point where, to make everybody else crack, and basically give the information that he was trying to get out of them, because that's part of the train. That whole training is pretty intensive. When they do SEER training, it's pretty freaking intense. I have some friends in the Marine Corps who went through that shit, and it is no fucking joke. Is the bottom line. They say, hey, you'll never forget your prisoner number. I mean, for sure. And some of the things, and again, I'm not allowed to talk about some of the things that go on there, but that shit is real. So there's a reason why, me as a tactician, again, I'm under the Geneva Convention as a service member and as a Marine, but not everybody plays fair out there, folks. Not everybody plays fair. So there's a reason why, there's things like torture. There's things like that happen. And again, it's those folks who have that intestinal fortitude to, may basically put their life on the line in the name of, freedom, justice, liberty, our great Constitution, and all those crazy things. So, we're out here, trying to, you're 5 years old, because, and then, you like, you say you think you have a crush or blah, blah. Now you're this, and we have to, now you're going to define you as that. Oh, you must be this, or you must be that, or you're a little girl. No, you should be a man, and blah, blah. I don't know. We're going down we're going down a really fucked up path here, people. Is the bottom line. You know, I mean, I'll put myself. I'll throw myself. No, I'm not throwing myself. I grew up. When I was in high school. My mom in the 70s and 80s, she was a choreographer. She used to wear the whole jazzercise shit. If you remember that from the 70s, the sweatbands, the whole leggings, the wrist thing, the whole spandex shit. My mom did all that, and so and she had a studio at the house. So I grew up seeing all that stuff in that environment. So obviously, when I came here to the US, I had the more opportunities, and I always wanted to be a dancer. So in high school, I did all the arts. I acted, I danced. I was in pas de deux, modern dance, ballet. I've done all that, and I enjoy going to the ballet and watching all that stuff. So I enjoy the arts. So does that make me that I have to be in a certain box? Oh, you must be gay, because I mean I dealt with that in high school. Oh, because you're this and you're that. No, it doesn't mean I enjoy that, but I also want to be I wanted to be in the Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying? So we're so hard pressed to put people in boxes and shit, and then I'm empowered, and I'm a woman, or I'm a dude, and I can do this or I can't do that, because fuck, it's, where did we go wrong? I don't know. But again, and when shit hits the fan, we're gonna revert back to our original roles, and how we're I mean, it's gonna be like that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. During the 80s, I mean, I remember, when President Reagan, when his speeches, and I was still in Colombia. I didn't get to this country until June 7th, 1985. But I remember Miss, the late Margaret Thatcher and the late President Reagan, they were giving, talks and speeches, and they would be dubbed in Spanish about nuclear warfare, and how Russia, had missiles and all this. I mean, we lived in fucking fear, and I mean, that was huge. And when shit hits the fan, we're gonna revert back to those roles. And here, hopefully in the US, hopefully we'll have enough people that are willing to step up and say, hey, you know what? I gotta do the right thing. I'm gonna stop the bad guys. Because if not, guess what? Guess where all those numbers are gonna come from? They're gonna go back on that list of former active duty, former reserves, the individual, the IRR, the individual retirement. I forgot what the other R is, but basically they're going to call guys like myself, and who with bad shoulders and bad knees. We're going to go out there and try to make shit happen. Now, I think I'm still in pretty good shape, but I've seen some of my counterparts, and nothing. Hey, thanks, Angel. So what's the IR? What's the entire IRR stand for? Help a brother out. Now I'm reaching for a friend. But the bottom line is, folks, is that they're gonna then they're gonna go down the line, the reserves, then the IRR, and we'll make that shit happen. We'll whip it on. I mean, I can still pull a fucking trigger and put a round through a gnat's ass with iron sights. By the way, individual ready reserve. Thanks, brother. Thanks. Thank you for being a friend. But I'm just saying that you don't want it, unless you want to be smelling Bengay and fucking Tiger Balm and Icy Hot out on a battlefield. We want and hope that we have enough young men and women out there whipping it on and doing their thing. Because this whole kinder and gentler shit that we're pulling, and some of the armed branches focusing on other shit than training personnel in peacetime, so they bleed less in warfare or in battle time, going in a different fucking direction. That, oh yeah, we should be, this whole woke thing. Again, I'm not trying to draw this line in the sand, but it's a real fucking deal, people, because the bottom line is, if shit hits the fan, we got to be able to do something about it and keep that monster outside our gate. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Because, once that monster is in our yard, pretty much cancel fucking Christmas because it's too late. Ask countries like the Ukraine got going on right now. Hey, regardless of what you got going on, or your thoughts and opinions, I mean, ask them. And it's civilians right now, and they're pulling from the civilian ranks, and everybody else is pulling chucks. So if you don't believe me, you should check out Chief Siebert's podcast, Combat Vet Vision. I mean, my dude right now, he was in the Ukraine with his wife Vika. They fled to Poland. I mean, Chief was like, "Fuck it, I'm even thinking of going out there and doing my part and shit." I was like, "God damn, motherfucker, you got shrapnel and all kinds of shit." So, but yeah, you're right, Angel. I mean, we're focusing right now on everybody's fucking hurt feelings. My truth, which that's another. I can make another fucking podcast on this whole. When Oprah Winfrey, and again, I'm not trying to pick a fight with with the Big O at all, but this whole my truth, that's the other shit that we got going on right now. Everybody's so focused on my things, my point, dude. Whatever happened to just disagreeing? Hey, you know what? I agree. I agree to disagree. Period. So, but the bottom line is that we need to get back to us, those folks who have served and are still serving. Look, leaders, we need to get back and focus on the bigger picture. Is basically train and be battle focused. Whether you're in the air, whether you're in the land or the sea, that's what we're here to do. We're here to keep that big monster outside our gates. Whether you're a coastie, whether you're in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Space Force now, Air Force, and all that good stuff. All those. We're here. We're part of that big big puzzle. Because once that monster crosses that that line, we're pretty much we're gonna be like in the movie Red Dawn and shit. Which by the way, the '80s version is much better. I'm just saying that once they're in our backyard, cancel Christmas, everybody. So, yep, and you're right, Angel. Thanks, by the way, brother. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for supporting our show. They're going to be looking for the brothers. Us, our brothers and sisters out there to make sure. Hopefully, there's enough of us out here to again, the battlefield will smell like Tiger Bomb. Fucking icy hot, and here in Miami they sell this. It's called Milagros. It's called Miracle, some type of But we don't want to be pulling from that pool. Is all I'm saying. So, but those are the things that that video just kind of it really chapped my ass. But because we're so focused nowadays on this or my feelings and whatever else and man this and that and blah blah blah. I think we need to get back to the basics because as technologically smarter that we've become and all these fucking things, it's like we're become dumber and dumber and just reverting to some crazy dumb shit nowadays. So yeah, and then we have the folks that say, "Hey, I almost joined the ... which by that time I'm already punching them in the throat. So, but I just want to share my thoughts and feelings with you. My thoughts and feelings with you folks in regards to these things. If you like the show, please like and follow and share it with everybody else. Let's get the word out there. Don't forget to check out Hero Stock. As well as Warrior Companions, Veterans Transition Support, and some of the other organizations that have already been on this show because they help out our brothers and sisters out there make it. These folks are out there making a difference in our community and helping other veterans out. All right. So if you want to be a part of the show, you have an opinion that you want to talk about, or we can agree to disagree, shoot me a comments or shoot me a DM, and then we can set you up and come on the show. Or if you have anybody that you want to recommend that's helping out our community, let me know. Connect me with them. That way we can get their word out there, and let me be their voice, and let me be your voice. Even if you're got an organization or a company that you want to promote, let's talk about it, because we want to let's help each other out. So before I get out of here, everybody, I just want to say that if you've been struggling with ruminating thoughts, you've been struggling with, what we used to call in intensive outpatient program, the ants. In other words, you're going down in that dark hole, that dark path where you might not, be able to step out of. Shoot me a DM. Let me, or if you're already there at that ledge, let me be at least that last phone call. Because bottom line is, I've been there. I almost, I literally almost pulled trigger. But luckily, a friend intervened and pulled me out of that. And I finally, I've realized that everything, that time period, as shitty as it may seem, everything has an end point, and you'll be that much better by going through it. So hit me up, hit somebody up, or if you haven't heard from a buddy at all in a little bit, do me a favor. Your homework for this weekend is to do a buddy check on somebody and just say, hey, look, I'm just doing a buddy check, just making sure you're okay. If you want to talk about something, let me know, right? Because we are all connected. So try the VA, the Military One Source, anybody. So anyways, that's our show for today. I'm going to end this right here. So Ura, get some. Aistamas, Daisuki. See you next week. Yacht!